Here we go. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 6, Episode 3, Take 2. I'm Brian the Commish. I'm down here in the dungeon. Joining me over the internet on the screen, the best co-host in the business, very patient while we work through technical difficulties. Walt is here, owner of Born to Run. How are you tonight, Walt?
I'm doing good, Brian. I'm looking forward to our remote podcast.
Yeah, we apologize for those that had the to deal with the start and stop from earlier. We had a little bit of a tech issue, but that issue seems to have resolved itself. Well, it didn't resolve itself, just in a panic. Started to boy us through things. So this is the BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast, where we look at everything fantasy football through the lens of our league, BARFF. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Week 3 action. And Walt, what a week it was.
Yeah, it was. It was, there were some close games, which, again, we saw them go into the Monday night. And then, of course, there were games like yours and mine, which were pretty much over by, I don't know, 6:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, it was painful. It was a painful experience to deal with that nonsense. I don't even. When we get to the games, I'll do my crying. I guess it was hard. So where do you want to start in this week? We had a couple of really good ones, but where do you want to start?
Yeah, we could start with our game. Honestly.
All right, let's go week.
I mean, me and the Moppers. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, this was Whopper Moppers, our reigning champs. They came into the game 2-0. Walt, you came into the game 1-1, looking for that second victory, and it did not go your way at all as the Moppers pulled out a 134.2 to 90.05 victory. Tell me about your game.
Yeah, I mean, I think from last week when I was saying that, I would have had to have a really good week to beat the Moppers. And I think I was pretty much right on. I mean, the Moppers had a, 134. That's a tough score to beat, in any given week. And then, what really killed me was Barkley, seriously underperformed. Dak, I was kind of surprised that he was as bad. But when you lose CeeDee Lamb, that kind of made it difficult for, of course, him to do anything but throw underneath, which was really frustrating. And then you go turn the other side. Tom started off well on Thursday with Cook, get 21. And he just had Nico woke up. Puka had a nice week. So, yeah, he had a really good week. And my team pretty much, projected 128, got 90, seriously underperformed.
That's an underperformance. Who was most disappointing for you this year? Is it the ongoing disappointment with Brian Thomas Jr., or was it getting sub 10 points from Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, we'll come back to the Brian Thomas comment of how disappointed I am because we could release some news. But, yeah, I would say, right now, I mean, if I look at Barkley and I look at where he is, I mean, he's ranked 13th in the RB position. So,
right.
You don't pick a guy where I picked him to be the 13th best running back.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that
very
hurts.
disappointing.
That does hurt.
For sure.
That does hurt. On the Whopper Mopper side of the ball, you hit it right on the head. He starts out hot with Cook. He gets a subpar performance from Mahomes, but it doesn't matter. Just solid all the way down the lineup.
Yeah, and I think that's what you can say about the Moppers. He's solid all the way down his lineup.
Yeah.
Again, if he avoids the injury bug, he's going to be tough.
I agree. I believe still joining us on the line, the owner of No Lineup Needed is with us. Christian, are you there? Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry if I have any background noise.
Yeah, no worries. You are the least of our sound problems tonight. We had no sound, which was the result of an unbelievable echo that we had that would have killed all of our listeners. So, but we straightened it out. So when you looked at this matchup, Whopper Moppers taking out Born to Run, what stood out to you? Was it a surprise to you that Whopper Moppers won so decisively?
No, I don't think it was surprising. I think it was just like, I don't think there's any holes, and the Whoppers don't have to worry about anything week to week. Maybe Mahomes underperforming a little bit because the Chiefs look kind of bad, but it's like every running back, every wide receiver, it's just like,
yeah.
Why worry? You put up 130, 140 points a week.
Exactly right. Yeah, Whopper Moppers is looking good, and a sub 100 performance from Born to Run is not a
It's
normal
not going to
occurrence.
cut it.
It's not going to cut it, but I wouldn't expect it week in and week out. So 1-2 is better than 0-3. And
Yep.
where
Yep.
where do you want to go
Well,
now?
he doesn't mean to rub that in, Christian. And I think when you said, yeah, it might be background noise, I wasn't sure if maybe that was your tears hitting the floor. Oh, that's just another. I mean,
Oh,
well, let's talk about your game because it was really good and
It was a
it
really
had to
good game.
be emotions everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
I
Christian, hold on. We're talking about worst team ever, squeaking out 3.6 points, 127.6 to 124.0 over no lineup, who fall to the dreaded 0-3. Christian, tell us about your game.
I mean, it's been kind of the same story as other weeks with like Lad and Genti Gianti underperforming. I mean, CMC looks dominant. Lamar is slinging the ball, running the ball. So I'm not really mad at that, and I think my other receivers are good. But it's just those two guys. I think if they performed anywhere near expectation, I'd won 3 games
Mm-hmm.
by this point. But again, like I don't know, I think I have like the third or fourth most points in the league
Yeah,
if we're points for, so I can't be mad.
yeah.
I'm just
This,
kind of like every week. And then David Montgomery like has like 10 yards of carry minimum, which is crazy. So I mean, it's like I don't know. I think I win like 9 out of 10 of those. If it happens, 9 out of 10. If that game Monday night happens 9 out of 10 times, but you know, it happens.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Well, when you look at this game, what jumps off the page for me is Caleb Williams out dueling Lamar Jackson. Did you think that was even possible?
Uh, actually, against the Cowboy D, I actually thought he was going to do pretty well. I don't know if I would have said 33, but even more surprising, as Christian, kind of was alluding to, is it now. If you said to me, would David Montgomery have more points than Lamar Jackson? I would have said, no way possible.
Yeah,
So that was like ridiculous. He looked like it was unbelievable against the Ravens D. It was so shocking to
yeah,
see how well he
yeah.
did.
Yeah, worst team ever. Picks up that win. They're 1-2, and great performances. The Buccaneers D putting up 13. They got 24 points from D and kicker. When you perform
Yeah,
that well down the bottom of the lineup, good things are going to happen to you.
I mean, he defied all odds. One, I kind of said last week I didn't think he had a chance. Two, he got 0 from CD, and I mean, it just this just goes to show that that's why, as they say, we play the game
Yeah,
because it just you never know on any
yeah,
given week.
100%. What is the deal? CD still listed as doubtful on Wednesday. Did they give that injury? I've just been out of the loop on CD's situation.
Well, at first it didn't look like I saw the first report saying it didn't look that serious, and then on Monday they were saying, well, maybe he might have a little stint on IR.
Oh
So
boy.
I think it's still up in the air.
Oh boy. Yep. That's never good. Um,
No,
and that's a horse that is a horse that worst team ever is really relying on. Your first round pick, and to lose them for any stretch, that's not great. Um,
yeah, so they're
Good.
still saying 3 to 4 weeks
Three to
for him.
four weeks. Yeesh. That's not a good
Yeesh.
position
Yep.
for worst team ever. But they pick up this win in an exciting game, 127.6 to 124. Where do you want to go next?
Yep. Well, let's see. All right, we'll go back to a bit of a power outage by the rifle. So let's talk about the beans in a rifle.
The Beans and the Rifle. Boston Beans wins in a large fashion, 130.3 over a real power outage, 84.3 points for the Springfield Rifle. Springfield Rifle are another team that fall to the dreaded 0-3. Walt, tell me the story of this game.
There's only one story. Uh, you got your boy Russell Wilson. He goes from whatever his outrageous point total against the Cowboys was to 6.7 points.
Yeah,
And then, you look at that differential to what Jalen Hurts had at 31.3.
yeah.
I mean,
You're not recovering from that.
that's just exactly. And yeah, and then A.J. Brown woke up, which I'm sure makes the Beans quite happy. Although, Mike Evans now looks like he might miss some time. But,
Yeah,
that aside, Beans has, I feel, a decent bench, so I think he'll be able to weather that storm. So yeah, that was tough. I mean, I mean, and now Russ ain't even starting. So yeah, that was a tough hit for the Rifle.
Yeah, cost him his job, that 6.7 performance for the Rifle. The Rifle put their foot down, and Russell Wilson is out of a job with the Giants for now. Jackson Dart moves in. Christian, when you look at the explosion from the Beans outside of 31.3 points from Jalen Hurts, what surprised you? Was A.J. Brown that much of a surprise?
Well, I think AJ Brown is gonna eat. Like we've said, him and like neighbors are like those receivers that know they're number ones and like to stamp their feet when they don't get number one numbers. But I mean, I think that his use was just a lot better in that game
Yeah.
than previous. I think Jamar might be a little bit. I mean, I think anyone wants Jamar Chase on the team, but the Vikings smoked Cincy. Like their offense was non. Like Jake Browning looked great when he came in, and then looked like he went back to high school. So it's like, I'm not really sure what to think with that. I mean, I think Jamar will eat, but it's like, I don't know. Like I think everyone in that offense is kind of like a big question mark. Like, I know the trade with T. Higgins is coming up later, but
Yeah,
damn, that's all I can say with that.
that game was that the ugliest NFL game of the week?
Oh yeah, no, they definitely. I mean, the Bengals looked out of sorts right from the opening, kickoff. So yeah, that was tough all the way around.
Yeah, Jamar Chase owners are in agony right now.
No, I know.
It's such terrible circumstances. Joe Burrow goes out, and you wouldn't think that the entire team would unravel because of that, but that's certainly seems to be what's been going on. All right, so that's the Beans and the Rifle. Rifle fall to 0-3. Where are we going next?
We'll save yours for last. How about Huey again rolling? And another squeaker against the Pantloads.
Yeah, shootout of the week. Huey Lewis in the News puts up the week's high score, 143.6, taking out Sody Pantloads 136.4. Tight game, went down to the wire. Great performances all around. Walt, tell me about it.
Well, there's okay, Jonathan Taylor. We're gonna have to talk about him. Like that might have been the steal of the draft right now.
100%.
He puts up a monster 33 points, but going back to how bad the Bengals were. I mean, how many times? I don't know if this is a record. 31 points out of a defense.
It's insane.
That's like that's. I mean, you translate that to like a regular player. That's like a 50-point position player a week.
Is.
I mean, that's insane.
2 touchdowns scored by that defense.
Yeah,
insane.
So I feel bad for the Pantloads. Really good week.
Uh-huh.
And to lose, I mean, that defense scores 20 and the Pantloads still win. So,
yep.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, that's hard. Christian, when you looked at this game, was there, I look at the Pantloads bench, there weren't really decisions that you were going to make. Anything that you could have seen go Sody's way that would have swung this one? This was a 7-point game.
No, I mean maybe some of the. He might have, I think Sody might have a little bit of the problem with you have so many performing receivers, you have to just kind of hope the ones you choose are the best scorers.
Yeah.
I think that might be the one thing. That's like a great problem to have. And in a normal week, you wouldn't have to deal with it causing you to lose.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his team looks great. And it's I think this is just an unfortunate one where you run up to the hottest fantasy football sorcerer in the league.
I agree.
He
makes magic.
Master.
He makes magic. Walt Drake May puts up 21.9 points in this. He's currently sitting at number 7 as for quarterbacks in fantasy football right now. Tom refers to him as Josh Allen 2.0. Drake 2.0. May is he for real, or is this just a little bit of luck of maybe the opponent playing into it?
I mean, I have a hard time saying it's for real. I mean, he had a good, I guess, fantasy week, but he had a fumble, interception. The team had 5 turnovers. The offense didn't look great. I'm not 100% sold on Drake May yet.
Gotcha.
He's got a lot to prove to me still.
Well, it's a long season. He's going to have plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
And that leaves us with game that was projected to be close, and it looked close, and then the wheels fell off the bus for yours truly. So that's the Soaring Eagles take on the Knuckleheads, and they end up with an easy victory, 133.95 to 112.65. The pain is real. Walt, tell me what you saw go wrong in Knuckleheads land.
I saw what I thought never would happen, that somehow the Giants opted to not involve Malik Neighbors apparently in the game plan at all. I mean, they didn't even try to get him the ball in the first quarter, which to me is bizarre. So, two guys that you were counting on, I mean, you go as your receivers go, and the fact that you got 3 out of Flowers and 3 out of Neighbors, I mean, that's yeah, and St. Brown was good, and your running backs, man, Jordan Mason, nice pick up there and putting them in. Yeah, that kills you though. You can't have 3 and 3 out of 2 receivers of their caliber. That's a killer.
The New York Giants got 4 total receptions out of Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson after Russell Wilson slings the ball all over the field against Dallas. It makes no sense to me. Neighbors at least had targets. Wan'Dale Robinson seemed like a forgotten person in this game. Christian, what did you think about the Giants and their usage of their wide receivers in that last game?
Horrible. I feel like I would be possibly a better coach if I played like Madden for a couple weeks and then went onto the field and tried to string up some plays. Like it's like why draft a guy so high that's obviously so talented and then be like, oh yeah, we'll target you 4 times, 3 times, and that'll be our game plan. I mean, Scatterbo looked good. But it's like, wow, imagine running the ball and throwing the ball. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Wouldn't that be impressive? Well, we talked last week, and we're not going to get a chance to talk about waiver wire because we're shooting the show too early this week. So I want to talk about Wan'Dale because I brought him up. Wan'Dale Robinson had a terrible fantasy game. He had a terrible NFL game. He was ignored. And it's a good thing for worst team ever as we circle back to the celebrated one. He picked up a win this week, so we can pile on a little bit. People are going to be smiling at him enough at the end of the week. But $53 for Wan'Dale Robinson. And as you called it last week, if you're paying $53 for a guy, you better not see him on the bench. And you were 100% right. Tell me the mentality of an owner that pays $53 for a player and stashes him on the bench.
Well, I guess I'll give him credit because if he started,
it was a good move.
I don't know. Actually, I'm wrong. If he would have did for T. Higgins, he still would have won. So I guess I'd have been wrong about that. But I don't. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that, to make that kind of bid and then make that decision that you're not going to play him.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, he would have picked up an extra 1.1 points over T. Higgins.
Yeah, if he's right. Actually, he could have put him in for a CD and he still would have been better off.
He would have been much better off. Yeah.
I mean, it was worst teams ever week, I think, is what we're figuring out right now.
Wan'Dale Robinson at 3.6 points outdueled 2 of those receivers, and worst team ever still picks up a win. That's good ownership. That's just knowing your deal.
Just turn in the knife while I'm here, guys. Just turn in the knife.
Sorry, Christian. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
That's brutal.
So that's week 3 in the books, and I want to just talk about where that leaves us in the standings. Again, for those that may not be familiar, who may be watching, we've got 10 teams in the league right now. Whopper Moppers, our reigning champs, are at the top at 3-0. Right behind them in terms of points scored, Huey Lewis and the News. They're also 3-0. The Soaring Eagles improved to 2-1 this week. Knuckleheads fell to 2-1. In 5th place, Sody Pantloads, 2-1. Boston Beans, 1-2. Born to Run, Walt, you're 1-2. Worst team ever picked up that first win of the season to go to 1-2. And no lineup, Christian Hard Luck and the Springfield Rifle in the midst of a season-long power outage down at the bottom at 0-3. Let's talk about our upcoming week. Week 4.
It's hard to believe week 4 all of a sudden got really important.
It's important for some teams.
Exactly.
We talked about you don't want to be 0-3, and I actually threw out a short out into the internet world of Tommy exclaiming that with some Joe, you don't want to be 0-3, and we got like 1,500 views on it because everyone agrees. But I tell you, we could make another one about not wanting to be 0-4 because
No,
that is a deep dark place. So that the potential
I
is there for a couple teams this week for that to happen.
and it sure is. And and I look at one. Well, if we want to kind of jump right into
Let's
it,
do
let's
it.
talk about the rifle in your game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Right
'Cause
now,
I
ESPN has this tight of 122. They're projecting the
it sure
rifle to go,
does.
but I don't know. There's been some power problems in rifle land. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I again, I think it, there's a couple of guys on there. Jefferson, like, what is he going to really do? You don't really know. With their quarterback situation. I look at they're projecting Pollard 14 against Houston. Houston, to me, their defense has been tough. Kamara against Buffalo, all right, maybe. Jacobs has got he's questionable. And then I flip it on your side, although I don't like what I see that Mayfield's questionable, but it's Mayfield. He'll be fine.
He's got an
Um,
arm injury. I think it's a biceps in his throwing arm, but he was
okay.
limited. The fact that he was at practice today, they're probably managing him. He was limited at
Yeah,
practice,
yeah,
but he's doing some things. I think he's on track to play.
yeah. So overall, you got a couple tough matchups, no doubt. St. Brown against Cleveland. Cleveland's D is wicked tough.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers with neighbors. I mean, you got a rookie quarterback. Not great. So I don't love your matchups, but I just think I don't feel very hopeful for a rifle. I guess I don't know. I just but they'll probably surprise me on that.
It is
If
good when
Jacobs
we.
plays against Dallas, you know what
Yeah.
I mean. That'll be a big lift for him.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if he practiced today. I didn't really get that deep into the practice report. I know neighbors didn't, but I think that's maintenance also.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly.
Christian, when you look at the Springfield rifle against the Knuckleheads, is this the week that the rifle breaks through and picks up that first win? We might have lost Christian, so you know.
Okay.
Oh, I'm here. Sorry, I was
Oh,
on mute. I'm
oh no,
apologize.
there you
I
go.
would say I'm not convinced. Yours are tough, your matchups, but his are I view even tougher. Like Buffalo, Jefferson against Pittsburgh, Tyreek against the Jets. I mean, the Jets have been okay, but their secondary is usually pretty good. So it's like I'm not I'm not sold on the rifle. And plus, like his real standouts of like Jefferson. I,
Yeah,
I don't know how they're not getting him involved. It's kind of like the same thing with Jamar Chase of like when you have a backup QB, how do you not just try to hit your best player on the field every pass
Yeah,
if
yeah.
possible?
I tell you, if I'm
yeah,
Pittsburgh, I'm maybe more afraid of Carson Wentz than JJ McCarthy. Like I don't know
yeah,
that the team necessarily goes backwards with Carson Wentz replacing JJ McCarthy.
yeah. He's like to me Browning. Let's see in the second week. Great week, but let's see what he does this week, and see if it was kind of a mirage on kind of what he did a little there. But of course, they got out up so early. You know what I mean? He really didn't have a lot of pressure on him, so it'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see if it's a tighter game what he does.
Yeah,
And then I guess one thing I'll say, we can't ignore the fact if when we looked at the stands, the rifle has by far the lowest points in the
yeah,
league.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we got to see something, right?
Yeah, it's uncharacteristic. I mean, they've had some great years recently, and they're in a little bit of a dry spell. We mentioned as the draft was going on that when you look at some of the names, Kamara, Tyreek, Matt Stafford, that maybe this lineup was had aged a bit, and
Yep.
you're seeing it in some cases. Hopefully they'll turn it around. They're in tight end hell with Sam Laporta, just like most of the teams are, because tight ends just aren't doing the thing this year. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, where do you want to go next?
All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk about the Moppers, the champs against these now soaring Eagles.
Yeah, this is projected to be a 7 point swing by ESPN right now, but it's only Wednesday. Whopper Moppers projected to take it 136 to 129 for Soaring Eagles. Whopper Moppers sit on top of the standings at 3-0. Soaring Eagles, winners of two straight after an 0-1 start, are at 2-1. It's close projections. Walt, who takes it this week?
Okay, so if you looked like we would have said, "Oh, Holmes against Baltimore," but Baltimore can't cover anybody. James Cook against New Orleans, love it. Chuba Hubbard, I think, against New England, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like Collins against Tennessee, kind of love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then go on the other side, yeah, you got Josh Allen against New Orleans, but I do not like Jameer Gibbs against Cleveland. Cleveland, I think, like I said, I think their defense is really, really tough.
Yep.
And then Arizona Walker, I mean, he'll probably be okay. I slightly like the Moppers' schedule and the matchup, so I'm going to give them the slight edge this week.
All right. Soaring Eagles has Devontae Adams in the lineup this week. We'll talk about trades later. That's a new addition.
Oh, that's right. Good call out.
He's a little dinged with a hamstring already as he makes his Soaring Eagles debut, but I think he's going to play. I think he was limited today. I didn't take a long enough look at the practice report today, but I think he's probably on track to play on Sunday. Christian, looking at some players from both teams, and I don't know, maybe it's just me and my biases, but when I look at Ashawn and that whole situation against the Jets, is the Jets and Miami going to be the ugliest NFL game played this week?
Yeah, it will be. I think. Well, yeah, but honestly, I think any game Miami plays is pretty ugly at this point. Uh, their coach is about just. I don't think he knows what to say anymore with how bad they've played, and it seems like Tyreek, even though he's getting the ball, is kind of pieced out at this point. But I think Sean eats no matter what I like. I think the thing that I think the Soaring Eagles could go for is Kemba Walker versus Arizona. I know that was like a pretty nasty game versus San Fran, but McCaffrey still ate that game, and I think that could be like an underrated player. I know he's been kind of hit or miss every year he's played, but
Well, he's
12.9 seems pretty low for that Arizona defense, which doesn't seem to put up much resistance.
he's averaging 14. He's a top 15
Yeah,
back
he's steady.
right now. So
Definitely.
yeah, he's
Yep.
the only back that they're going to give the ball to. So I don't. Yeah, I don't even want to go into that situation, but that's a good situation for Soaring Eagles to have. So, all right, that's Whopper Moppers and Soaring Eagles. Walt, where do you want to go next?
Well, let's talk about Huey and worst team ever.
Yes, this is going to be another tight projection. This is I believe 6-point swing, 123.6 to 117.4. It's only Wednesday. Worst team ever has all the reason in the world to be distracted this week, but we'll see what they do. Walt, who takes this game?
Well, I think this might be a good time because I think on paper you look at worst team and you're like, okay, they're putting Juwan Jennings in. They got Drake London, which is not horrible, but there was a little trade between Born to Run and worst team ever, and we traded a couple of guys that are kind of underperforming. So he now has Brian Thomas to kind of see if he can turn his season around from the Jags. So,
it was nice of you to give worst team ever the opportunity to let Brian Robinson turn it around.
Yeah. So, I think, but he helped me, and we'll talk about that because, I'm having the underperforming running back position. So I think he's going to put him in there.
Okay.
Who knows what he's going to do? It's going to be hit or miss, right?
Right.
But it definitely has a guy with the potential. I mean, he was a top 5 receiver last year. I don't know where he ended up, but he was in top 5. So
Brian Thomas Jr. I said Brian Robinson.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to help him. I think that little shot in the arm, if he somehow can produce, I think it'll be a really close game, for sure. Because Taylor against the Rams, Rams are tough on D. I feel, they keep them in the teens, so I think it's going to be really close. I think ultimately I can't go against Huey when it comes to a close game. So I'm going with Huey.
All right, Christian, what do you think? Huey Lewis in the news versus worst team ever this week.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Huey too. I don't know if Quentin Johnson took PEDs over the summer or just got new fingers, but he seems like he catches every ball that Justin Herbert tosses his way.
Yeah.
So I think that is actually a standout player. I mean, Cup, I'm fine with him being played, but I mean, Huey also just has so many options on the bench too. He's got essentially 2 starting running backs,
Yeah.
Dobbins and Scatterbo. So
yeah.
Yep.
I can't go against Huey here.
Yeah, Huey's. We talked about the first part of that trade with Soaring Eagles getting Devontae Adams. So Quentin Johnston, who has been red hot, now makes his way over to the Huey Lewis in the News lineup, and also J.K. Dobbins is now down on his bench. So when you look, Walt, if you're talking about J.K. Dobbins and Quentin Johnston for Devontae Adams, do you make that trade?
Wow. I I mean I guess I do make that trade because I don't mind getting Quentin Johnson at all. Uh, Dobbins, I don't know. If he stays healthy, like he's good.
That's
He could be
always the
good.
trick. It's always the trick with
That
him is
that
staying
is with
healthy.
him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But
Christian, how
he
about
stays healthy. I love it.
yeah? How about you, Christian? Do you trade J.K. Dobbins and Quentin Johnston for Devontae Adams week 3?
I think so. I mean, Dobbins looks good. Again, like I think Denver is actually a pretty good running offense as
Mm,
well.
yep.
But then you're essentially trading the number two in Los Angeles for the deep ball threat of the charge or the other deep ball threat of the Chargers, and the Chargers are throwing like 50 times a game. So to me, it's like a no brainer on that side of it. It's like
Right.
his first 3 weeks or anything. I mean, I don't know if like Keenan Allen or McConkey are going to eat into that against tougher opponents,
Yep.
but playing the Giants in a deep ball threat, that seems like a good match made in heaven at this point.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Devontae Adams. Yeah. He's got a decent situation as long as Stafford stays healthy. So
Right.
we'll see how he does. All right. Where do you want to go next?
Let's talk about the pants loads and the beans.
Sody Pantloads taking on Boston Beans. This is a bigger spread than I thought it would be. The matchups are a little tough for the Beans this week, but Sody is projected to go 134.84, taking out the Beans 122.52. Walt, does this projection hold? Is it an easy week for the Pantloads?
I hate to say it, I think so because I don't ETN against Frisco. I mean, like, can you call Jamar Chase with what's going on there? Like a top tier receiver now. AJ, I got to see another week's out of him as well. So I just don't love those matchups. Keenan Allen, you thought you had jinxed him, but then in the fourth quarter, he was Keenan Allen again. He looked great. So that to me, against the Giants, that's a nice matchup.
Yeah.
But you go flip it on the other side. Knicks against Cincy, you gotta love it. Bijan, what? That's a tough one. Bucky, Philly, but Bucky Irvin is not going to get you anything less than points in the teens. Like he's a monster. So Garrett Wilson, I think, will have a nice week. Dunze, against Vegas, he looked good against the Cowboys.
Sure
So
did.
yeah,
Yep.
overall, I like the Pantloons. Their matchups look good. He's got guys that are scoring. He's scoring. So yeah, Tony will need a good week, I think.
All
To
right.
upset him.
Christian Sody Pantloads projected to win easy over Boston Beans. Is it an easy week in Pantloads land?
I do love Sody's team personally. I think Adunze and Wilson are like, I think two, I won't say underrated at this point because they
Mm,
both performed very well, but we're
mm.
two underrated receivers going into the year. But I agree that I think some of the matchups are pretty damn hard on the Bean side. I mean, I still like his team, even with like Sertan versus Denver and Browning. I
Yeah.
still like Chase. AJ Brown looks good. Tucker Craft looks like he's breaking out. So I think it'll be tight, but it's hard to beat Sody's team at this point.
Yeah, Roma Dunzek started the season week 1, had an off week, and then he's top 5 wide receiver in fantasy football right now. So he's having that's a good turnaround. And Las Vegas
Yep,
is an opponent that you want to see come into town right now. So yeah.
exactly.
All right, well, where are we going next?
This is it. Am I going to keep Christian without a win, or is he going to finally get one against me? So we got our game. But
All right,
Christian,
gentlemen.
don't look at my projections. I'm turning my lineup upside down.
Yeah, there's been some trade
I'm,
activity. It just hasn't gone through yet. No lineup right now is scheduled to take this one 133 to 117 over Born to Run. But Born to Run's got a couple players coming to town. Walt, before we get into analysis, do you want to tell us about who's changed hands in this trade?
Yeah. So again, we got Brian Thomas we give him a new lease on life on worst team ever, and I'm getting the new number one back of the Arizona Cardinals, Trey Benson,
Trey Benson.
who will then replace Isaiah Pacheco, who was also part of the deal, and the much maligned T. Higgins is coming back home to BTR. So that was the trade. And then, what I can also say is Dak Prescott is probably not going to be in my lineup for the foreseeable future because I just can't trust him now, especially with CD out. So, like I said, no lineup's going to see a little bit of a different lineup come Sunday.
All right. Is it going to be enough to? Is it going to be enough to overtake no lineup needed?
I think so. I think Christian's got to get something out of Genty and McConkey because if they keep doing what they're doing, I have a feeling Pickens could be benched by halftime when he has an outburst that he's not getting the ball. So I think that's the key. If Christian gets single digits from those two guys again, I think he might be in trouble because I feel Barkley's going to break out this week. I think, that I might flex in Ferguson because he's all of a sudden I'm going with Ibuka. He's been hot. I don't know why I've been keeping him. So I got some guys I think are going to put some points up.
Did you ever think that you were going to be choosing Jake Ferguson or agonizing about possibly choosing Jake Ferguson and inserting him for Brock Bowers?
Never in a million years. Never.
Jake Ferguson, number one ranked tight end in fantasy football right now. It's insane.
Yeah, the targets were ridiculous last week, and it's gonna happen again.
Christian, looking at your game this week, you got Born to Run coming to town. You're gonna be trying extra hard to break into that win column. Tell me how you feel about your team's chances this week.
I mean, my team is 0-3, and there's been some underperformance. I mean, again, like I brought up earlier, like 10 or 15 points difference, I'd be 3-0 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I still like my team. They've underperformed, but I think even, if I can survive a little bit, I got Rashi coming back, so my wide receivers will look a bit different. But, I like my team, and I think I have some pretty good matchups. Like, even with McConkey and Genty, like, Chicago's defense didn't look great. New York Giants, even as a wide receiver 3, potentially McConkey could still go big.
Mm-hmm.
Pickens is potentially, I'll see about if he's in the lineup. I mean, I like him as like the number one pass catcher or with Ferguson. But I mean, Chris Olave's out of my bench, but the dude's getting like pitch and catch 15 targets a game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so I don't even really hate putting him and Johnson in against Buffalo, considering they've been throwing the ball so much, and those are really the two only targets.
Yep.
So I think my team is decent, and I mean, I don't know if this stuff will go through, but I have some irons in the fire, so my team could look a bit different when Sunday comes. But I'll be confident. So, I mean, I've been in 0-3 before, and I'm not really phased at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like my team, and I think I bet on a bunch of rookies, and I got to hope they work out.
Yeah. We talked about this week one that having a slow start is not unusual for you, and you've pulled it out with great success in the past. So nothing to say that you can't do that again, and we'll see this week. That wraps up our preview of week 4. We got to talk about guillotine. So let's look at the overall scoreboard from week 3. So in week 1, we lost worst team ever. In week 2, we lost Boston Beans. And that leaves us, of the teams that opted in to participate, the low score this week, Born to Run with 90.05. An off week, but an off week means the guillotine falls. Born to Run is officially eliminated from the guillotine pool.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to see you go, my friend.
No, me too. But hey, it's deserved.
I
put up 90 points.
I was not far behind you, I would say. When I put up 112, I was like, this isn't good.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. It's brutal. I thought I'd be hanging in there a little longer, but hey, it is what it is. A win this week will make me feel a lot better about that.
All right. We looked at the standings. We previewed. We don't have the waiver wire to talk about. We did talk about the trades. I want to do a little. Who do you start? So, Walt, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to give you two players at a position, and it's two players that an owner would legitimately could have on their roster and would legitimately have to make choices week to week about who to play. So this
Okay.
week, heading into week 4, your options for who do you start? Patrick Mahomes or Daniel Jones?
I'm starting Mahomes because I think the Ravens secondary is terrible. Um, although, man, yeah, I'm saying that, and I'm like, I'm almost second guessing now because Danny Dimes has been, uh, but at Rams, no, I'll stick. You know what? They tell you stick with your first instinct. That's what I'm going to do. I'm stick with Mahomes.
All right. All right, Patrick Mahomes. But would you have said 3 weeks ago, coming out of the draft, that if we had done a who do you start for week 4, and I had given you Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones, that you would have given it any thought, any agony at all?
No, none whatsoever. Here's another question: would you start Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott? Because I'm faced with that, and I can tell you who's winning on that decision.
I got to tell you, from what I've been seeing, especially with that matchup against Green Bay that Dak's got, Daniel Jones is in my lineup 10 times out of 10 this week.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, Christian, I've got one for you. Who do you start? Brock Bowers or Juwan Jennings?
Ooh, wait, let me just.
Oh, I'm sorry, Juwan
I
Johnson. Juwan
Dwan
Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my fault.
I would say maybe if I'm doing it this week, I'd say Bowers just because the matchup. I think Buffalo could be tough, but I don't know. Juwan Jennings is or Juwan Johnson. You even got
Juwan
me saying it
Johnson. Yeah,
wrong.
sorry about that.
Um,
I'm the worst.
no, you're good. I think that it's I think this year there's been the kind of like these middling tight ends have come back and just on these teams that just need to move the ball.
Yep.
And he's like the safety outlet for Spencer Radler. I was happy to find him on the waiver wire for free.
Uh-huh.
hmm
But I mean, I don't know if Brock Bowers is still injured. That's like the one thing for me. But I mean, I think Brock Bowers, I have to say that at this point, but I like Juwan Johnson rest of season.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, again, go back to the draft. Brock Bowers is getting picked in the top 3 rounds ADP, and he currently sits in the 8th spot for tight end rankings. Juwan Johnson, number 2 ranked tight end in fantasy football, right behind Jake Ferguson. So we're in week 4, and the top 2 tight ends are Jake Ferguson and Juwan Johnson. That tells you the
Yeah,
landscape that we've got.
the world's upside down. But I mean, if Bowers get this week against Chicago, I mean they've given up the most receptions to tight ends. So
Yep.
I yeah, we'll have to see. But I agree.
All right, I got
It's a tough call.
one more. Who do you start? Walt, I'm going to go back to you. Actually, I might ask you both this one. Who do you start? Ashton Janty or Cam Scattaboo?
Wow. Oh man, Scottaboo, like the guy even did a flip in the end zone. I almost want to say I'd start him just for that. Um, but I honestly, I think I'm going to start Scottaboo, and I'll tell you, it's Tyrone Tracy is probably not going to play, right, at all
He's not. He's going to be out
this
for a
week.
few weeks
Yeah,
at least.
so he's going to be the bell cow, and with Dart in there, I think they're going to rely heavily on him. I just think from a volume perspective, I'm going to start him
All
over
right.
Genty.
Scattaboo over Janty. Christian, same question to you. You've been suffering in Ashton Janty land, but would you, if you had Cam Scattaboo on your bench, would it be time for you to make a move?
I don't think so as of yet. I mean, Pete Carroll said that Gentry is going to be getting more touches. I'd like to see him get some passing work, but the dude sucks in pass pro, so I don't know if that'd be it. The thing with Scatterbo this week is the Chargers defense is so good.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
I
Good
would
point.
hate. I think that's like the one thing that keeps me from saying him this week. The dude looks great. I'm happy he's on my third team.
Yeah.
And but I think I gotta go Gentry just because I gotta trust it released a little bit of what Pete Carroll says. Not like everything, but hoping that his top 10 pick actually gets the ball is one I'll side with.
Yeah. And again, these are 2 rookies, but one of them is average draft position first or second in Ashton Janty, and Cam Scatterbo went undrafted. He's I think he was a 4th-round draft pick for the Giants.
Yeah.
Was
Yep.
slated as 2nd or 3rd option in the backfield, and now he's a hot commodity in fantasy football. I think that the fact that people have him locked up in their lineups right now, they're going to see the benefits volume wise over the next few weeks. So
Exactly.
all right, so that was who do you start? It's amazing how the landscape can change. Tight ends we've beaten to death, but quarterbacks and running backs are right there in the mix. We could have done something with a comparison with AJ Brown, because you got to agonize about starting AJ Brown now too, which is what a weird world it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's bizarro season so far, for sure.
All right, that is our look at all things fantasy football through the lens of our league, BARFF. Christian, anything for the good of the order before we call it a night?
Sorry, Brian, can you repeat that? You kind of broke up there.
Sorry, yeah. We're going to close it out. You got anything for the league, anything for the viewers before we close out for the night?
Just don't count out no lineup needed, even at 0-3.
I love it.
I like it.
I love it. Yep. Walt, anything for the league?
Yeah, I think, I think, there ain't too many years where week 4 ends up being like a critical week. But I think for a couple of teams, I know Christian's been able to survive, going 0. You said 4 last year you started?
I think it was 0-3 last year.
Yeah, so, 0-4 that's really tough. So it's hard to believe. Like I said, that week 4 is already a critical week for a few teams.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a dark place to be, but it's salvageable. So if it happens to anybody, you never give up. But ouch, that's tough. All right, that's our show for the week. Christian, thank you for calling in. Greatly appreciated.
Yes, Christian.
No problem. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Walt, thank you for making it work on the video call and for your patience in getting the show off the road with the sound problems.
No worries.
Much appreciated.
No worries at all.
And
we'll be back in person next week.
All right, looking forward to seeing some owners at some festivities. Congratulations to worst team ever, and good luck to all in the league. That's our show for the night.
All right. Good luck, everyone.